sponsor My Business Group, a group of brands designed to support owners, leaders and managers in business. If you're looking to grow your business, contact mybusinessgroup.co.uk today for more information or follow the link in the description below. And as this is hot off the presser, we're proudly sponsored by High Point Access Limited, your number one stop shop for all your working at heights and roofing needs. Find their details in all the links below. Thank you to High Point Access for your continued support of the Blades Ramble.
Like and subscribe to Blades Ramble.
What is happening, Blades, and welcome back to the Blades Ramble. I am, of course, Jimmy, and this is hot off the presser because Chris Wilder has just been speaking to the press about that game. That game on Sunday. How are we all feeling? And before I get into it, I just want to say, I wonder if you read this the same way as I read it. Anybody that's had a chance to have a look at the press conference. So basically what he does, and we'll come into this as we go through what he says, because it were a decent length one today. We're about 40 minutes, which is why we're a little bit later than usual. He certainly acknowledges the importance of the Steel City derby. Never, ever wants to dampen that. But he tries to pull all the emotion, or as much emotion out of it as he can, and make it more of a professional job. A lot of the times it was, no. The most important thing is 3 points. It's not relegating them. It's blah, blah, blah. I don't believe him is the first thing, which is absolutely fine to do. But this is exactly why I think he is the right man to lead us, just in general. You know, everybody knows what I think of him. But in terms of the headspace and the mindset going into this game, what's he supposed to say? Yeah, I'd love to smash them 5-0 and send them down. Because if there is the off chance that, heaven forbid, they beat us, we don't win, anything like that. But even it sends the wrong message to the players that this is going to be a 4 or 5 or 6-0 game. So even though I believe inside he's thinking, this is the game for us, we can nail them, we can absolutely stuff them. He can't say that. He can't say that to the players. He can't say that to the press because obviously that's the message that goes out to the players and the supporters. It's fine for us fans to feel like we feel. And not all of us will be thinking this. Not all of us will be confident. Not all of us will be giddy going into the game. Some will be nervous still because it's a Steel City derby. And ultimately anything can happen. But it's so weighted in Sheffield United's favour that a lot of us are excited for the game. I am under no illusion that he wants to do what the majority of us want to do on Sunday. But he's right in what he says in terms of the 3 points are the most important thing for Sheffield United. I mean, certainly in the here and now, I would argue that the history books will say something different because stuffing them 5 or 6. Look, I'll be happy with 3 points. 3 points all day long. That has got to be the focus. But I just thought his whole approach was bang on. We'll get into it now anyway. Before we do, just a quick word from our sponsors. Do you want your favourite replica shirts for the World Cup? Check out okjersey.com. It's high quality jerseys starting from just £15. I love mine. From modern day shirts to the old classics that we all love. Use the code RAMBLE at the checkout to get 8% off your order. Get ready for the World Cup in style. And thank you to OK Jersey for their support of the Ramble. Thank you to OK Jersey for their support of the Ramble. Do go check them out for all your replica jerseys. Now, where is my transcript? I haven't looked through it. Look, it was a quick turnaround, all right? So don't have a go at me if Victor Gyökeres is mentioned, Cristiano Ronaldo at some point. We use AI nowadays to try and speed up the process. So if there's a few little typos in here or I stutter somewhere, it's a lot better than the old school. For those of you that were here when I used to scribble the notes down for off the presser, at least I can read this. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So first and foremost, Andy Giddings rightly raises the most important point, really, that, look, Chris, before we come on to the derby, we see you wearing different colours today. It's Weston Park, the purple colour. We had Gary Sinclair on the Ramble recently, who's an ambassador for Weston Park. Also notes how important it is to him and a lot of people in Sheffield. We all know that the Chris Basham testimonial, etc., but Chris comes on to that. So he says, we're seeing different colours around the ground for Weston Park. Why is that? Says Andy Giddins from Radio Sheffield, knowing what the answer is, but obviously offering Chris to the platform to say it. He says, yeah, purple today and Sunday as well. Weston Park is our chosen charity. Myself and my wife, Francesca, have been involved for a few years now. Fran sadly lost both her parents to cancer and met some incredible people at Weston Park Hospital. From that, we decided to get involved properly. There's a specialist piece. He's mentioned this a few times, but for those that aren't aware of why or what the goal is with Weston Park, he says there's a specialist piece of equipment the hospital needs. Manchester has it, Leeds has it, other major cities have it, and Sheffield doesn't. That didn't sit right with us. So a lot of good people have come together to raise awareness and funds. We played a small part in getting the ball rolling. Chris Basham's testimonial last year was an outstanding success with some incredible donations, some huge, some small, but every single contribution matters. We're well on our way to raising the £1.4 million needed for the equipment. It's life-changing. When you understand what it does, quicker diagnosis, prevention, treatment, and you see how many people in this city are affected by cancer, it becomes very real. Weston Park does unbelievable work. I drive past it every day. Every Christmas we go there. It matters. So if you can, bring a quid on Sunday. There'll be plenty of people collecting in buckets. Hopefully we can have another strong fundraising day. What a brilliant cause. As I say, we'll always back local charities and things like that and try and promote where we can. So well done to Chris. And we're all fully behind it. Next question from Andy was, hang on. Oh, are you hopeful that it can be secured this year, meaning the equipment? He says, yeah, we're really close. And when it happens, it'll make a huge difference for people in and around Sheffield. Then I suppose it's on to the next challenge. Love that. On squad building, finances and rule changes, then he says, with the parachute payments ending and rule changes coming, how challenging, he sort of lent into, it doesn't say it here, but he sort of lent into the Q&A with the Fab last night. So the fan advisory board from Sheffield United put on a fantastic Q&A event with Stephen Bettis, and before that they sort of went into detail about what the Fab is and what its purpose is and how fans can contribute towards the future of the club. Essentially, it's a communication vehicle between the Fab are there to voice fans' opinions to the club in a sort of concise and structured way, but they are the pathway to get our points into the club. And last night spoke volumes for that, as Stephen Bettis, our I think he's still our chief exec, is he? Because I know he's gone onto the board this season, but I'm pretty sure he's chief exec. Was in attendance for a Q&A, and he was there for, well, he was there all night, but for the Q&A section he did a good hour and 15 minutes. We've recorded everything, so there will be a video coming out on the Ramble, but I just want to say thank you to the Fab, who I thought did a fab job last night in setting everything up. I thought it was really good, really professional, really impressive, to be honest. So Bob Dyson and everybody involved in the Fab, congratulations for a great evening, which we will come on to if people want to talk about it. But this was following on from some of the bits, the really interesting bits that Stephen Bettis discussed last night in his Q&A. So parachute payments ending and rule changes coming, because it's moving towards a different model under FFP and PSR, which, you know, again, is in the Fab video that we'll put out. How challenging will this summer be? He says it's no different, says Chris. It's always been challenging. It was challenging in 2016 when we had to move players on because the wage bill was too big for where the club was. We've always operated within our means. The money we've generated has come from performances and achievements, plus backing from our owners, Kevin McCabe, Prince Abdullah, and now the new consortium. It's always been collaborative. When we came out of the Premier League, we had to hit a number financially. We hit that number. We built a team with free transfers, for small fees. Easy for me to say this morning. Small fees, loans, and we got 92 points. We're an attractive club. Players want to come here. We'll have to wheel and deal. That's football. I don't really buy the parachute payments argument, if I'm honest. They've been a thing for years. You earn them through promotions and success on the field, and we've done that. We're not a Birmingham, a Wrexham or a Man City where someone arrives and completely transforms the landscape overnight. What we've built has been from within. Of course, I want to keep our best players, but sometimes you can't stand in their way. As long as we're getting the right value, he talked about, and again, he don't mention here, but he talked about he won't stand in a player's way from a Premier League move, for example, if it's the right thing for everybody involved. And he didn't even caveat it with that, but basically it's a reward for them doing well for Sheffield United. Of course, I want to keep our best players. But of course, but sometimes you can't stand in their way. We attract good players. We attract good loan players. We've got a fantastic stadium, incredible support, and a new training ground coming. We're on the same page. And credit to Steve Bettis, we've balanced the books. We've never really put ourselves in any sort of danger in that respect. In terms of protecting young talent and potentially Cat 1 status, he says, yeah, I thought so. We're already future-proofing our young players. We've been on top of that for a while. Something that did come out of last night's Q&A was a lot of us have been concerned that Brooksy and Sariki have only got 18 months left on the contracts, because that were mentioned in a previous press conference. And while Coy as ever was like, yeah, well, that's the case. So we are speaking to them now about new deals, and we hope to have some news on that after the January transfer window, because that was when they were asked in January. And Steve Bettis poured cold water on that last night, which is obviously is right to do in terms of whether the club want to reveal it or anything. He says, well, what if I put everybody's mind at rest and said that both players maybe had a 12-month option in their contract? So everybody, the whole room, I was sat opposite Russ, one of our Platinum Ramblers, and he like sunk into his chair like, oh. It was just like a collective relief that we still hold the leverage over the play. And I don't mean that in a sinister way, but I always think as soon as a player hits 18 months, they hold the cards. And you don't want to be in a position like that as a club. So we still need to get Sariki and Brooks tied down during or before the summer, would be my sort of say on that. We're already future-proofing our young players. We've been on top of that for a while, says Wilder. I don't undersell players. I won't stand in the way of someone moving to the Premier League. That's ambition, but value matters. No player's price goes down in a winning team, so we have to win games. Medium to long term, it's about building the academy, smart transfer fees, improving value. Look at Harrison Burrows, Michael Cooper, smart recruitment. We're not in danger with our young players' contracts. There are options in our favour. Sometimes players' contracts run down. That happens, but we make decisions accordingly. Ultimately, the ambition is to play at the highest level in a Sheffield United shirt. Okay, so this is where it gets onto the game, and this is where I think it was really interesting. And again, I've got back to my original point where I think absolutely superb handling of the whole situation. Andy Giddins asks, does the prospect of confirming Wednesday's relegation factor into the game on Sunday? Absolutely nothing to do with me. My focus is on winning the next championship game. That's it. Don't believe you. We've probably done more preparation, which is obviously, it's not true that his focus is certainly on winning the next championship game, and he will prepare for it in a very professional manner. I don't doubt any of that. But for him to sort of, and again, he has to put this narrative out there. It's not about damaging them. It's about what we can do for Sheffield United. And ultimately, that is always the key. But this will be sweet. We've probably done more preparation for this one than any game this season, apart from last year's playoff final. There's talk, it's a mismatch, it's a gimme, bookies odds, narratives from Sky. Football doesn't work like that. We showed the players' examples. Macclesfield against Palace, Bodo Glimt versus City. Over 100 years of football proves games aren't decided on team sheets or form. Emotionally, it's never just another game. Carlos Corberan taught me that. But we have to play with discipline and control, not just emotion. There's a lot on the line for them, we understand that, but our fight has to be bigger than theirs. We can't control refereeing decisions or a goalkeeper having the game of his life. What we can control is our attitude, our approach, and our actions. If we get that right, we'll have a good afternoon. On the financial controls in football, he says, we've never been a checkbook club. We were the lowest payers in the Premier League when we were there. We've never been the highest payers in the Championship. There has to be sustainability. I've been at clubs where things off the pitch weren't stable, and it doesn't help. Should ambitious owners be allowed to invest? That's a different conversation. It's a difficult one. There has to be safeguards. You don't want situations like what's happened down the road. From a football perspective, nobody's ever shown sympathy to us, so I focus on our club. We were in a relegation fight not long ago. To rescue that and look upwards is a credit to everyone. That's the trajectory I want. I don't know whether he goes into it, because again, I haven't read the script before I've come on, but he said, we're now aiming toward getting to that 50-point mark, which should not be laughed at, looking at the position that we were in at the start of the season. We'd lost 5 or 6 games on the spin, and that is the first goal, and we are now looking up, and that's the way I want to go, forwards and upwards, he said. On the legacy and dominating the city, a double-double over Wednesday would be historic. Does that matter? I think this was Danny Hall when he took over. I'm just after winning games of football. I want that winning feeling. That's what drives us. The rest comes with it. I'll never get bored of winning. On Tyrese Campbell, obviously he's linked. It doesn't really tell me what the question was here, but he's linked because of his previous success in this game. I think the question from Danny was, he's had a lot of success previously in Steel City derbies, but he's not scored since the last one, which I found shocking, really. We've worked hard with Tyrese physically and tactically over the last 6 to 8 weeks. I was really pleased to hear this, because a lot of us were concerned with his physical fitness, I think is probably fair to say. And if you can get him fit, well, Chris Wilder says here, he's got a huge part to play in the final 14 games. Players go through roller coaster moments, highs and lows. He's trying to get himself that belief back. We're seeing glimpses of it now. He set the goal up on Saturday. He said, did he say on Saturday? He said that Gus went through similar as well. He's made an impact against Oxford, against Middlesbrough. He's pushing hard for a start. At full tilt, is an absolute handful for anybody in this division. That led Mark Meldrew to put in our Platinum chat that he thinks he goes with Tyrese Campbell as a starter on Sunday. Do you think he starts Tyrese Campbell? I'm not so sure. I don't know whether we're supposed to think that. But he's here to keep us guessing, isn't he? Because this is the information he's putting out that the opposition will see as well. On the new training ground and academy, he says, I want to be involved in the future here for a long time, which links into a question that I asked last night to Stephen Bettis. As I said, we'll get that video out to you as soon as we can. We've squeezed every drop. We've squeezed every drop out of this current place. But times, meaning the existing training ground, but times change. The players we're trying to attract expect more modern facilities. Cat 1 status is huge. I remember dragging Sander Berger up Rutland Road, the look on his face, but they bought into it. He says that, let me have a look, just see if they do it, because I want to tell this tale. He says, I've spoken about it before. I don't think he's noted it, but he said, I've spoken about it before. What we used to do was get players into Bramall Lane to come and sign, and we'd get the mood lighting right, we'd get decent music on, we'd have all this, make it all look really nice, because that's our showcase. That's what we can sort of sell to them, is, you know, the nice hotel and all this sort of stuff. And once they've signed, then they go up and see the training ground, because that was not the sales pitch, part of the sales pitch, because it wasn't really up for selling as a sales point, if you like. I remember dragging Sandra up. Modern players are more dialed into development, sports science, medical, psychology, analysis. We have to match our ambition with facilities. Man City and Arsenal tick every box. We have to keep moving forward. The new facility won't be a Leicester £100 million setup, but it'll be right for Sheffield United. He said Steve Bettis is really really keen to make sure it's a top draw facility, and it's important for the future. On developing academy players into first team players, he says when players come through the academy, they're used to operating at that level. But stepping into first team football requires another jump, physically, mentally, technically and tactically. I agree with Liam Rossini on that. Looking at after players off the pitch is just as important as what happens on it. We have to make sure that they're right in every area. Mentality, physical, conditioning, technical detail, tactical understanding. Every cornerstone of the game has to be covered. From a physical and mentality point of view, ding! Didn't think we were going to get it this week. Especially the demands are completely different. So it's our responsibility to give those boys the best possible opportunity to produce their best performances. On Henrik Pedersen and the job he's done at Wednesday, I'm sure he like a lot of us, very favourable job. No, but not to be, funny about it. He says, you've got to respect the position that Henrik's in, and that's fair. Standing in front of the media after games isn't easy, especially after emotional moments. I saw a piece on Mikel Arteta in the week after they conceded in the 94th minute. As a human being, how is he going to feel about that? Sometimes you have to be an actor. Sometimes you have to control how you look and what you say. Why don't you do that then, Chris? Other times you're just being honest. If your team has dropped 2 points in a huge game you expected to win, it hurts. And that's at Premier League level. Henrik stepped into a really difficult situation, picking things up from the previous manager. That's never straightforward. I've got full respect for the way he's handled it and for the way he's tried to lift his team. One thing I'll say, and Alex Neil mentioned it last week, his team gives everything in every game, and you have to respect that. He was dealt a tough hand, but he's getting on with it. There's no sympathy in this game, and he won't feel sorry for us, and we won't feel sorry for them. That's football. But I like him, good guy, and I look forward to seeing him afterwards. Well said. On expecting Wednesday's best performance, he says, in their situation, of course, this game is massive for them. But we're prepared for their A game in the first fixture. We're prepared for their A game in the first fixture, and we'll do the same again. You always prepare for the best version of the opposition, and we prepare for our A game as well. Sometimes you don't quite hit it. We didn't fully hit it last Saturday in terms of control or chance creation like we have over the past 15 games, over the previous 15 games. But what I saw was a team that fought. Across a 46-game season, you're going to have afternoons like that. The key is what you get out of it, and we got what we wanted, a win. Nothing is ever given to you in this game, not as a player, not as a team. You earn the right to play well. You earn the right to win. The noise around it just doesn't change our approach, whether it's Portsmouth away, Coventry at home on Wednesday night, or Sheffield Wednesday on Sunday. The preparation is the same. We want to be the best version of ourselves. What I'm pleased with recently is that we're finding different ways to win, turning potential losses into draws and draws into wins. That's what you need if you want something from your season. On selection decisions and horses for courses, that mean would Tyrese Campbell suit this game? That was a potential discussion. He says, if a player has a strong record against, does it play into your thinking? I think was the question from Stu. He says, if a player has a strong record against a certain team or at a certain ground, you do take that into consideration, especially for attacking players. Confidence matters up top. You want them brave, taking risks and believing they can hurt the opposition. Tyrese, for example, has a really good record against Wednesday. And by that, he's trained, and the way he's trained recently has pushed him right into the front of our thinking. That's what you want from everyone. Forcing the manager to make tough decisions. It's not just about what happened the previous Saturday. You watch training closely. You look at the week they've had, positively and negatively. There's tactical thinking involved too. Sometimes it's horses for courses. Last week, we felt playing Tom up front in that shape might give us something. It didn't quite give us the outlet that we wanted. We adjusted around 10-4 on Saturday, and it gave us better control. You try and get it right. Sometimes you don't. But when players are pushing and giving you something to think about, that is healthy. And just on managing a 3-game week, he says you also have to factor in the bigger picture, a projected lineup, a 3-game week, a big match on Wednesday night, and then an away trip on Saturday. But the full focus is on Sunday and getting 3 valuable points. It was then asked, I think it was some questions by some students who again did a good job on the derby game itself. He says it's never just another 3 points. I've never taken that approach. Emotionally, with all the connections we have in this city, it can't be framed as just another game. I think it's dangerous to do that. Somebody did that a few years ago and got hurt. Little jab. It doesn't guarantee you a win by acknowledging the importance, but our approach over the previous derbies has served us well. Hopefully it will again. On the start and the game intensity, he says we need a big start. At home recently, our starts have been strong. Even against Middlesbrough, we were outstanding from the off. I watched Coventry against Borough and compared it to our game. Maybe the only difference was that Cov scored first. The first goal on Sunday will be big. We want to put them on the back foot, but do it in a sensible way, controlled aggression. On what the derby means to him personally, he says it's meant a lot to me from an early age, both negatively and positively. I still remember getting beat 4-0 at Hillsborough on Boxing Day. Those memories stay with you. It swung both ways over my lifetime supporting Sheffield United. Everybody understands what it means, supporters, players, staff, but emotionally we have to stay calm. No rash decisions. Discipline is crucial. We know the importance of it. We embrace it. The process doesn't change when he's talking about preparing the team. In possession, out of possession, the analysis, all of that remains the same, but we've reminded them of the importance. The good thing is we've had time. Saturday to Sunday gives us a full week. We started properly on Tuesday, set the tone, set the narrative, laid out exactly what we need to do to win the game on Sunday afternoon. And we're ready. We're ready for it. I certainly feel ready. Don't know how you guys are feeling. I'm going to get to your comments now, but just so you're aware, if you're not able to get to the lane for whatever reason and you will be watching it on TV, then join us to watch it as well. Because Batman Lou and Jamie Dumpling, the old Dingo Dumpling, live from Australia, will be watching it with us as well as the watch-along of the Steel City Derby, in which Sheffield Wednesday could, results pending, could be relegated. Oh, my word. Oh, my word. Right, let's get into your comments then, see what you guys are saying this morning. I do have to get off soon because my family is due to depart for the airport at 11 o'clock. Evening, pal, says Jamie, because it's evening where he is. Evening, mate. Looking forward to this. Hope the fans forum went well and really looking forward to the watch along with Batman. Up the blades, up the ramble, like and subscribe. Thank you, Jamie Dumpling. It went really well, as I say, so congratulations to all at the Fab. Matt says, up the blades, up the ramble. Top man, mate. Hope you're good. Big T says, nah, them blades. Only 2 more sleeps. Shame about the keeper. Do they only have till 12 o'clock today to get one in as it's a loan? I don't know whether emergency keepers sort of garner different rules. So we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they still get a little bit more of an allowance in terms of time frames for it. Seni Dieng is the man that they're trying to get in from Middlesbrough, who's not a bad goalkeeper historically. He's not played well the last couple of seasons, and Borough have been trying to shift him on, I think, by all accounts. But yeah, they're for those that aren't aware, their latest loan keeper, who Morgan Cooper, I think it is, who was on something like that, who was on loan at Barnsley from QPR, is now injured. So they need another emergency loan keeper. Have they not got like youth players or a youth team that they can play? They've had more emergency keepers than, I don't know. I can't finish that sentence. But George says, up the blades, up the ramble, back again. How was the Fab yesterday, Jimmy? Really good, mate. As I say, we'll get a video up on channel as soon as we can. Come on, you red and white wizards, says Blades forever. Yeah, Blades forever. Brand says, morning, Jim. I noticed the Pigs were after another keeper. Maybe they should get Daniel Pudil back into. Then if he puts a shift in, they can drop a 4-pack of Aldi Lager off on his doorstep again. Nice little throwback there, pal. Cold off the presser, bloody freezing, says Jack. Yeah, it's nippy out there, isn't it? I don't know whether you meant because of my time, but we're still talking. That's why we're going. Sounds very much like he's expecting. Josh says it sounds like very much like he's expecting some youngsters will go this summer. Interesting that he mentioned extensions. Any idea if it's Brooks, Sariki, and Peck who have extensions? Brooks and Sariki have extensions, and I think Peck is already tied for another 2.5. Might be wrong with that. Mel Drew says absolutely love Wilder on relegating that lot. What's that got to do with me? Come on, Chris, play the game. Exactly right. You know, Marco. Lindsay says, morning all. Is it just me who's nervous about not being nervous for Sunday? Yeah, good question. No, but it may change come closer to game time, might it? Batman says, pitched at the right level, Jim. Nothing taken for granted, but no sympathy or punches pulled on Sunday. For me, we should go out at full tilt from the first second, turn up the heat from full blast. We can make changes later on. Meaningful ones, and they can't do it. No mercy. Up the blades, up the ramble. Exactly the same, pal. Exactly the same. And that's right. He pitched it at exactly the right level for me too. Jack says, I'm nervous. The fact that I'm confident, says Jack in response to Lindsay. Let's hope United don't play to the level. It's important we get Femi and Brooks signed. Morning, Jimmy says, got to think attitude, approach, actions. Come on, you blades, up all the rambles. Yeah, absolutely right. Raymondo says, morning all. Got a feeling they'll come flying at us to try and catch us cold. We must be wary of that, but we'll smash them. Up the blades, up the ramble, like and subscribe. I think they would be daft to come at us quick. Their only hope is to soak up what they can and hit us, maybe with a set piece or a quick counter. If they open up against us, Raymondo, it would be a huge error for them, in my opinion. Finally catching alive, says Dan Chap. Good to see you, pal. Joe says, morning, Jimmy. Getting my fix on my way back down from an MOT in Barnsley. Glasby wagons all over the place for all your pallet needs. Sunny Glasby and Glasby's Pallet, sponsors of Ramble FC. and behind the Ramble. Thank you to Sonny and the team. And also, if you're getting an MOT, why not nip over to VMB Auto Centres? 50% off your MOT, and they'll sort you out as well. They'll sort you out. But yes, good morning, pal. Dino says, morning, Jimmy. 3 points is great, but 3 points and 5 goals is better. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Oh, we can't get too far in front, can we? We can't. We can. We can't do anything daft, i.e. challenges that leads to red cards, because that's a leveller, says Meldrew. Looked focused and determined, and his approach to that was superb. If we put in a professional performance, we should have more than enough. Absolutely, we definitely have more than enough. But yeah, you're right. There's always, X factors and asterisks in games, isn't there? You look at the Charlton game, for example. That's the one that will always slap me back down to earth when we dominated them for half an hour. Should have been 3-0 up, and then we get a red card, and then we get a second red card. We're just it's a funny old game, someone once said. Dave Morwood says, morning, Jimmy. What a man. He plays it down so well when we know he wants to stuff them up all the Rambles, up the Blades. Like and subscribe. Thank you, mate. That's how I took it as well. SUFC Loyal says, I love the gaffer, but perhaps need to draw a line somewhere. Is that me? Yeah, I can't. If that's what that was. Dempsey says, looking forward to this one, Jim. My lad is on the 5-0 train. I'll take a 1-goal win in this one. Not bothered. Looking forward to the atmosphere up the Blades. Talking to the atmosphere, if we do get the 3 points, which we're all very hopeful that we do, there will be an after party in the hotel. I went in and spoke to him about it yesterday. We'll want the fans to be at it from the off also, says Marco. Yeah, I agree. I think we need to be, and I think we will be. I think a lot of fans will be up for this. Really exciting scenario, isn't it? Have you done a video to recap the Fab Forum? Would love to hear that from you, pal. I've recorded the event, so I'm thinking of doing a video on the Ramble of the Steve Bettis Q&A section, and then I've got more or less a day in the life of what I was up to yesterday, because it was a busy day yesterday. And I might do that for Behind the Ramble and sort of split it up a little bit. But the Q&A, which I think everybody is the most interested in, we will get that up as soon as we can. It's a huge file, because it's been done on my posh kit, and it's done because it's so neat, and it's just, I don't know what I'm doing, to be fair, but we'll get it sorted. Don't you worry, Dempsey. Roy says, I think only Cov have smashed them. I may be wrong, but it's 3 points. And anything else is a bonus. Come on, you red and white wizards. Very sensible from an experienced Blade there, Roy. Spot on. Hope you're well, mate. Pete Rogers says, morning, Jimmy. Good night last night. Yeah, absolutely, mate. It was a very good night. Pete joined us, a Platinum Rambler, on our table last night. We had a good time, didn't we, pal? And Pete rubbing shoulders with Steve Bettis afterwards. Doing a bit of schmoozing. I saw you. Thom says, morning, pal. Loved the presser today. Feeling up for it Sunday, and I imagine the players are too. By the sounds of it, we aren't taking it lightly, which I'm loving to see. Enjoyed last night too. It was brilliant to see you and the lads. Yes, it was great to see you as well, pal. And we'll see you Sunday, won't we? Alex says, morning, Jimmy. Bring on Sunday. Approach has got to be the right, which I'm sure Wilder will do. Last derby for a long time. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Here we go. Owls out. Look. Sorry. Owls Outlook from YouTube. I imagine they're a channel. Fair dues, mate. Our goalkeeper, Murphy Cooper, got injured in training this week. We're looking to find an emergency loan again, or we'll have to play teenager stretch. Cooper was my only hope of it not being 3+. I think we're looking at Dieng from Borough, but it depends if we can get it through on time. Somebody's already asked Owls Outlook, and thank you for joining us, mate. Is there a time limit on when you can get that deal done? Is there a cut-off point? I'm hoping to get together with James from Wednesday Till I Die pod today, and we'll record something and get it out, whether it's recorded or whether it's live. It's just a scheduling thing at the minute. So we'll find out what we can. But if you know the answer to that Outlook, then let us know, pal. SUFC Loyal says they will bring in another emergency loan keeper. There's someone nowhere near getting a game somewhere. It's Senny Dieng, who no doubt would love the opportunity to play in a game of this scale. Absolutely. Action Location says, if Coops and Adam Davis were injured, we will be forced to play Faxon. So why don't Wendy's get permission to bring in yet another keeper? They should play those on their books. And Al's Outlook responds to that by saying, Stretch and Faxon are not registered as professionals, so you would also be allowed a 7-day emergency loan. Interesting. Liam Twig says, knowing our luck, they'll get Trafford on an emergency 1-game loan, which would mean we'd only win 2 or 3-0 instead of 6. Nice, mate. Morning, everyone, says James from Wednesday Till I Die pod. Good morning, my friend. Tracy says, end of the day, we should need to turn up because Wednesday will try their best. Heard Gyro's back. He did say that. In fact, he didn't tell you at the beginning, but he said the only players out are Shackleton, Davis, Rothwell, and somebody else. But nobody that would make you go, Gyro is back in contention, which again is incredible. Very unlikely to start, in my opinion. Heard Reederville's back Sunday. Just concentrate on 3 points. I'm watching Preston tonight because the Hubbies team up for it. Well, you can join Batman Lou. No. Yeah, Batman Lou and Gaz Dunn on Ramble FC. We are doing a watch along of Blackburn v Preston tonight. Has connotations both ways, doesn't it? Because Preston are in that playoff chase. Do we want Blackburn to win? We probably do, because I think Cov beat West Brom anyway. Anyway, we'll see. Dan says, big opportunity for United to get a healthy goal difference. Not saying we're entitled to a big win, but it's got to be the aim. It has got to be the aim, I would agree with that. Phil says, hi Jim, City must start and no Burrows. I think Burrows will start, if I'm honest. Look, Helder looks a more than capable alternative, so I'm not upset. Lee, in our countdown to kick off, Lee went with that in his preferred lineup as well. He thinks we'll start, or we both tend to think he'll start with Burrows, but Lee likes the look of what he's seen from Helder, and I have to say I do too. Wicked Boo says, watching from California at 2:15 a.m. Unbelievable. Thank you for that commitment. Enjoying the show. Let's beat them so bad they can never mention Boxing Day again. Up the Blades. Nice. And I love that that badge as well. Dieng scored against Sunderland 2 years ago, so maybe it's just what we need. Yes, I remember that. Yeah, that's true. Do you know, Seny Dieng was a really highly rated Championship goalkeeper at one stage. When he were at QPR, he got a decent move to Middlesbrough, and it just never worked for him for whatever reason. But there's a player in there, and I don't really want you to get Seny Dieng in time, if I'm completely honest. Tracy says, P.S. I asked Hamer if it's Harmer or Hamer, and he's pronounced it as Harmer. I know, but it's an accent thing for me. Harmer. I just don't feel comfortable. I've been too used to Hamer, Trace. So if you and your Ollie want to call him Harmer, then that's up to you. But oh Lord Michael Brown says, Jimmy, do you think the Pigs will be a lot weaker without Barry Bannon, who seemed to make them tick? Yeah, I think they'll be weaker without Bannon. I think, how can you say that he was their best player, who was their talisman? We always used to give him stick, and I still don't think he gets into our starting 11, but it was a great pro for them and a great captain. He's managed. It depends what mood we're in terms of how we talk about Barry Bannon. At the moment, if I'm being honest about his impact at Sheffield Wednesday, then he's a legend at their club, isn't he? So he's a legend because of not only his leadership, but the way he played for him. So I was saying the other day, we recorded a proper football episode. It might have even been on Jimmy and Cal show, and I'm not normally confident for these games at all. Really don't like them. And if they still had players like Bannon and Windass, although we'd be favourites with the bookies, I'd still be very nervous, because those are potential game changers, aren't they? A Bannon free kick into the top corner is not something that, look, he never really turns up in derbies, he never has, but there's always the one in there where it can fly in your face. I do think they're a weaker side without Barry Bannon, and I think a lot of Wednesdayites will probably say the same. It's a 44-ton truck, Jim. All right, if VMB start doing HGV MOTs, let me know. Okay, pal. Fair dues, Joe. We need to shut them up once and for all, says Action Location. Phil says, Jimmy, be careful with the after party. If we stuff, they are liable to get nasty. If we stuff them, they're liable to get nasty. We've got some bruises on door. Not only have we got bruises on door, we've got bruises inside. Big T is part of Ramble crew. Nobody's getting near us. Don't worry. No, to be fair, all joking aside, it's a Blades hotel, essentially. I know what you're saying in terms of it could get nasty. I don't think it will. I think they've already accepted their fate. They're trying to play it off as it's already a foregone conclusion, and Sheffield United aren't relegating us. Chancery relegated us at the beginning of the season, which I would be spinning that narrative if I were part of Blue Half as well. I don't think it'd be nasty, if I'm honest. I think we will just enjoy our evening if it all goes to plan. So, but I appreciate the warning, Phil. I've also, by the way, for anybody who thinks I'm jinxing it, I have set up a 90 after 90 as well. So there's a fail-safe. If we do lose, I haven't just gone all in on a win. If we do lose or draw, then a 90 after 90 is set up, which will be a very somber occasion. But that is also ready to go. So I've edged my bets. TJ, Tom, not from, says, last Steel City derby for years. Let's make it one to remember or one to celebrate. Gonna make this a night to remember. Paul says, morning Jimmy, morning everyone. Great to be here with the Ramble family. I'm going for a 3-0 Blades win against the Owls. We'll be much too strong for them with the Lane. Huge crowd leading us to victory. Up the Ramble, up the Blades. Hope you're right, pal. Jack says, what's the biggest you took away from last night, Jim? Good question. From the Fab. I think it's similar to what I took away from the Community Foundation day when we did, myself and Baldwin brilliantly went for a day with Community Foundation, and we'll be doing some more work with them as well. We posted that video on Behind the Ramble, but also sort of opened it up to linked into the Blades Ramble community so more people get to see it. And we'll do a bit more of that sort of stuff. There's a lot of good work, certainly in the Community Foundation. There's loads of brilliant work going off that gets unseen. But I think with the Fab, it's the intent for utilising the purpose for what it's there for. And it's sort of, this is the question that they are sort of trying to get around. How do they show fans what impact they can have without fans engaging with them in the first place? So I think it's about initially trying to shine a spotlight on what the Fab can do in terms of being that middle person between the club and the fan base. And I think it were a really good example last night where Stephen Bettis came and had an open Q&A, and there were questions from the floor that he wasn't prepared for, and he took everything that was asked. And some things he answered, he wasn't able to answer. I don't think any of us were expecting to get breaking news out of it yesterday. But I just thought it were a really positive step in terms of, there were a load of representatives from the Community Foundation there, and it felt quite holistic. It felt quite like together as a club, like everybody were on the same page, which it hasn't necessarily always been the case. So I would encourage anybody to sign up as a member of the Fab. It's completely free to do, but what they want to do is get your thoughts and your opinions. And it shows last night that if you were to have attended last night, anybody that did attend will tell you it was really easy access to a lot of important people at the club, and they were more than willing to chat with you and talk about things, and it were really, really impressive, Jack, is what I'd say. So congrats again to the Fab and everybody who put that on yesterday. Gyro's back. Thank Flip for that, he says. Jamie Dumley says, also eyes on West Brom, Pompey and Blackburn tomorrow. They decide it, I'm pretty sure. I don't think Pompey have any say in it now that they've won. Just remember what we expect. United will do the opposite. Don't say that, Jack. Dan says, if they get Dieng in, watch him turn into Prime Pressman. Oh, Prime Pressman. Chris Woods. Jamie Dumley says, got a £1.13-ish bet on that we score 5+. If you're wondering why I weighed him out, it's all I had left in the kitty. Fair dues, mate. Aussie's having your life, is it, pal? Alessandro says, this is the only game that matters to them in the circumstance of their season. Very, very true. But they're a much weaker 11 since the 3-0 reverse fixture. Also very true. I have every faith in Wilder and the squad. All 3 points and a 4-0 win. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Paul, don't be promising things you can't commit to. He says pizzas all around on here when we win. When we beat the Owls in the city, it'll be red and white. I'll be holding you to that, pal. We'll be in a hotel afterwards if you want to deliver them there. Heard you singing along to some Olivia Dean last night as well, Jim. Angelic tones. Oh, mate, all the time. All the time. It's quite an eclectic mix that comes out of my mouth sometimes. It's never very good. Cappuccino for everyone when we win as well, says Paul. Cappuccino and a pizza. It's a different combo, but I'll take it. Don't see why we loan Adam Davis to them lot. Got to be nicer alone in our second choice than Borough or Cardiff's third choice, says Jamie. I think Seny Dieng will be the best emergency loan that they've got this season in terms of a goalkeeper. They've had like 6, but Seny Dieng will be a really high caliber loan in terms of name value, I suppose. Better than what they've got. Dion Charles is obviously the one. Is it Dion Charles? No, that's Bolton forward, isn't it? Or Huddersfield forward now, whatever it is. Whatever he is. Shea's brother. Pierce Charles, that's it. Pierce. He's their best player, but he's out injured. So, anyway, main man will be the Yorkshire Pirlo. Oh, of course it will. Of course it will. Peck, Femi and Brooks going to run riot, says Jack. I hope you're right. Anyway, I'm going to call it there. Thank you to everybody for joining us. And when will next time you see us be? Will it be the game? It probably will, you know. Oh, no. We'll be on with James tonight at some stage. At some stage with Wednesday Till I Die. I need to sort my diary out. Because it's all over the place and it's a very busy weekend. But for now, come on, you red and white wizards! Up the blades!